Alright, so I'm going to show you how to pretty much first review how to use system.out, how to use scanner first, right, to write this as an application just to test. So to prompt the user with the current specification of the computer, right? And we're going to do system.out first for initial computer configuration, right? So I'm going to use IntelliJ IDEA as the IDEs, right? So you may download that and install it. So get the ultimate version if you're a student and launch that. Alright, so first time we're going to go to File, right? And then go to New Project. We create a new project, just like a new folder. So we're going to pick on Java, first one. Now, some of you may not see 1.8, right? So if you don't see that, you need to, if you go back to your home machine may not have the JDK installed yet. In order to write Java program, you need JDK. So how do we download that? Okay, so we need to link that JDK here, right? So first we're going to download that JDK. This is just called SDK, Standard Development Kit. So JDK stands for Java Development Kit. So you can just download, right? JDK, right? The latest one, pretty much JDK 8. Okay. It's going to take you to Oracle website. Okay, so where you can start to pick the version. Right, you see that is update 112. Okay, update 111 and update 112. Get the latest one, which is U stand for update 112. It's JDK 8 update 112. Okay, so pick your OS. The important thing is you have to know your machine 32 bits or 64 bits. So if 64-bit, use this one, 32-bit, use this one. And pretty much, if you have Windows 10, it's 64 bits. So, and you can do Mac OS X, and depending on your OS version. Now we can download this, and then you follow step to install it. After you install, you should see the path to that. By default, in Windows, it should be under C program files, and it should be just this one. This is for 32 bits, right? So we get 64 bits, should be under Java, and you see JDK 1.8 update 102. So this is the path that you want to link, right? If you don't see 1.8 or a link update 102 underscore like that, right? Then you're going to go to new, right? And do plus JDK, which you're going to link to that location that I just showed you, right? C program file Java JDK. And you hit OK. And then it should add that for you. Like now, I add again, that's why it's 1. It's repeated. See that? Alright, so that's how you link. First, we want to get the latest JDK. JDK stands for Java Development Kit, to get all the libraries that we need, right? So what's a library? So let's talk about that. So now we're going to do next. You could do from template, or you can just don't have to use template by just create from scratch. Now I'm not going to use template. So we're going to create project name. So this is pretty much just going to give a name to computer configuration. Okay, so I'm going to use that, and most likely you don't want to have spaces, right? So I'm going to delete the space. Finish. So this is the path to your project, right? See user under your login and idea project. So it's going to prompt, do you want to put in the same windows or put in a new window. I'm going to put in the same window here. Alright, so it's going to be under Idea Project, Computer Configuration. Now, let's look at that path a little bit, then we can study how it's being organized. So C, right, users, right, and my username login, and that is the idea, right, configuration, but it's going to be under Idea Projects. So I have 3 projects so far, right? So now this is the latest project that I just created. You may see when we use this, it's just create a folder for you, and all the .idea, this is just configuration for IntelliJ configuration, right? So we're not going to worry about that. Yeah, as well as the IML file. This is for IntelliJ IML file that they use. Now, this configuration is pretty much just showing, like, when we set the JDK location, things like that, right? I just try to open and see what is in the ML file here. I mean, it's not a bad idea to just study a little bit how they organize things, right? So this is pretty much just telling that this is where my source code is going to be, right? It's just configuration for IntelliJ. So in the source folder, this is where you're going to, when you create a new class, it's going to put inside source folder like .java, right? So source is where .java code is going to go. Like now, if I want to create a new, I can just go to File, right? And then go to New Class. Like in Java, basically, like class is pretty much for all the file, which is ending with .java, and class name should have the same name as your file name, right? So let's create that. Java class. So we don't have option here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand this and see if I go into source folder, file name. There you go. We have Java class, right? Because that is the place where your Java should go. So I'm going to create that. So what we're going to call this computer config, okay? So you see classes being created, right? This is where you can start to type your code. And like I said, Java basically have the class, right? And it's important to name the class with the capitalized. It's just the naming convention that we go with. Okay, capitalize the class, and no special characters, no numbers in front. And I mean, number can go afterward, but no spaces. We gonna use they call camel case, right? Yeah, like the capitalized case for each, right, between the words, right? And the camel case is using for the variables. First letter is lowercase, and then uppercase between the word. Yeah. So let's review those name again. So we call camel case. All right. So camel caps on medial capitals. Practice of writing compound words or phrases such that each word or abbreviation begin with a capital letter, right? So the camel case may start with a capital or, like in programming, we like to do that. like FedEx, right? Like that. So this is what you use camel test. Make sense? If you're new to this word, okay? All right. So now we gotta do public static void main string. So class has the methods. This is called a method, right? So this is a main method. So main method, pretty much when you run a program, it's going to look for the main, right? So this is the starting point of program. Like when you run an application, it's look for the main, right? So, and this is the syntax for that, right? Public class void main string args. So a method just like a function. A function in math like f of x, you pretty much just f is main, x is like string args, right? A parameters, right? Like in math, right? So if you understand the concept of method and function in math, it's pretty much exactly the same thing here. It's just naming different, right? So when I say that, meaning the concept of function in math, right? Let me show you. For example, if I have f of x equals to x plus 1. So your x plus 1 right there is the implementation. That's going to go between curly braces right there, right? Where if I say f2, the output is going to return 3, right? 2 plus 1. Now, string args here is actually, you can take the values, okay, form a, if you run, we call an argument, right? When you run the program and follow by the values, that is called an argument. That means you pass, like, if I say argument 2, you pass 2 in. Like for example, if I want to say system.out.print, system.out.print, like I try to display to the console, and console is pretty much just the black screen here if you say CMD or DOS. So this is like console. Like in the old time programming, we don't have graphic user interface. So when you do system.out.print, it's going to print the output underneath it. So now when we use IntelliJ, that console just get integrated. You see, if I want to run output of x plus 1, right? So let's say x plus 1. Now, they don't know what's x, but we happen to name args, right? Okay, so this is an array. A bracket is an array. Okay. Now an array means we have a group of data that has the same data type, which is string, right? String is a data type. So a group of information that has the same data type, like for example, what I have x and x is 2. It's not a group of information. But if I want to have a group of information, I can say, hey, x. In math, we don't have int, we don't have double that distinct, but we actually do have decimal and integers and whole numbers, right? But they are represented by x, can be replaced with those. But in Java, we need to keep the type, so that's why if I have to write this in Java, I have to say, hey, int stand for integer, right? Or if I say decimal, it has to be double, like that, right? So now, if it's string, this is a string, it's pretty much is text.